In this lesson, we'll focus on reducing the intensity of the wrinkles on the forehead. So let's go ahead and continue on. All right, so in our previous lesson, we focused on the bags underneath our gentleman's eye here. And basically, we didn't want to reduce them in their entirety, so we still have some remnants of just those wrinkles that we see right there. And I think that is very important to keep in mind. You wouldn't want it to be completely flush up against the bottom of the eye. It would feel very unnatural, very otherworldly, to put it lightly. And then the same thing here with the wrinkles kind of above the brow right there, above the eyebrow. Just kind of having some remnants of those frown lines right there, I think is very important. Again, it adds to that. It keeps everything looking natural. It has a very natural quality by maintaining that. So we want to carry that mindset on to the brow here, or to the forehead rather, above the brow. So I'm going to create a new layer just by clicking right here on this little icon at the bottom of our layers panel. And just as I did in the previous lesson, I'm going to be using my healing brush tool, and I'm going to go ahead and just remove the wrinkles entirely to begin with. And then we'll rein ourselves back in using a layer mask, just as we did on the frown lines and then those wrinkles underneath the eyes. So hopefully by now you're starting to become rather comfortable with the healing brush tool. It's a really excellent tool. And again, for something like this, you could probably even use the spot healing brush, which again, you don't have to sample. You basically are just painting that selection there, and it's gathering information from the surrounding pixels. Okay, and it's basically just pulling that information in, creating new pixels right there to fill in that that area. But I kind of like the spot healing brush because I can be a little bit more methodical, a little more calculated in where I source areas of skin that I want to have replace these wrinkles. So just kind of finishing out this little area over here. Okay, let's zoom out, and we can see how that's really not what I want. It feels just too clean, okay? We don't want it to appear like he got a Botox injection or something in his forehead, right? But you can see clearly the change that we've made. So let's go ahead and we're going to apply a layer mask. So I'm just holding down Alt and then clicking on this little layer mask icon right there. And again, let's go ahead and take a step back, Control Z, if you will. If you just click on that, it gives you the layer mask right there. But anything in white basically will show you everything that is visible, okay, everything that you've already have on that layer. But if we go ahead and hold down Alt and create a layer mask that's filled with black, then everything that's on that layer is masked out, okay? So anything in black is masked out. Anything white is visible. So just reiterating that, I'm going to switch to white as my foreground color, back to my brush tool, and I basically have the same setup for my brush tool as I did in the previous lesson. Soft round brush, and then I went to my brush panel, transfer with pen pressure set for the controls for both opacity and flow. So what I'm going to do now, and I'll go ahead and size up my brush a little bit more, is I'm going to kind of just paint some white, making sure the mask is selected. So painting some white over the mask, and I'm kind of revealing that cloned information that I have on that layer. And so I want these wrinkles to still be there, but just very faintly. So again, I imagine this guy is, you know, late 30s. He's probably about 36, maybe 36, 37. So I want these wrinkles to kind of already start to be forming in there. Now, of course, everyone ages differently, so even something like this can be up for debate, but I just kind of want them to be very subtle, kind of want to have them kind of be in there just very lightly. And of course, zooming out, kind of making that comparison is also very important. But already I'm kind of liking how that's looking. So It's not perfectly clean. We can see those kind of little ridges in there. And I think that helps us from not going too far back, and it still feels natural. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do in our next lesson, we're going to kind of change it up. We've spent several lessons now basically removing wrinkles and removing blemishes, things like that. We're going to focus now on his hair, facial hair, okay? Now, I wouldn't recommend trying to remove the facial hair because he's kind of beyond the point of it just being stubble. He's kind of entered into the beard phase, okay? So we're not going to try and remove it. Rather, we're going to try and kind of color and basically hide the fact that he has gray hair. So that's going to be the focus in the next lesson. Before we move on, let's go ahead and make kind of a comparison, kind of see how far we've come here. So you can already see just we've made some huge changes. You can actually turn the visibility on and off for the group itself. But you can already see we've peeled away several years now for this gentleman. Okay, so stick around. We'll go ahead and catch you in the next lesson where we'll focus on the facial hair.